they come to interrupt us. The book talks a lot about what we call the record, delegate, do technique. Every time someone comes and interrupts you, pause for a second and think, am I going to record this request? Am I going to delegate it to someone else? Or am I going to do it? We record a request when it's, when we're in the middle of a project. I have times in my day where it's designated project time and designated, dealing with customers time. And if it's project time and someone comes to me, if it's not urgent, I will record it. It's very important that they feel acknowledged. You don't want to say, yeah, I'll do that and send them away, because they'll not believe that you're really going to do it. But if you say, oh, hi, yes, you need me to do such and such? Okay, and if right in front of them you... Okay. You write it down so they see you're writing it down. That's sending a visual message that you're taking them seriously. Then sort of close the book and say, okay, I'll have that done in a couple days, or whatever you're going to say to them. That's one way of sending them away without being a jerk, because you've acknowledged their request. People would love if every request was done instantly, but they acknowledge that the number 2 best thing is to be acknowledged and taken seriously and sent away. And the worst thing is to hardly acknowledge them. It's the send email to help and there's no auto reply saying, here's your ticket number, or leaving voicemail and being unsure whether you're going to hear back from the system. That's the worst case, and that's what we want to eliminate. There's a hand back.
You just mentioned it, help desk,
or
an email, so that people know that that you've got it, you can prioritize it and let them know something's happening.
Right.
And help desk, the priority item, just let them know that when you can find it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
In the record, delegate, or do, it seems to me that it would be the best thing to record them all and then make the decision. Because sometimes somebody will come in and say, I forgot my password. Could you just go into Root and change it? You go in there and you find your account's gone. Or you find that it suddenly doubles the size of it. And I find that it's really good to get a person out of the office and just say, let's go ahead and record this. And then in the next few minutes, you can figure out how big it's going to be.
Yeah. Actually, the book goes into detail. There's a chapter on prioritization, which is what I encourage is prioritize based on expectations. Something like changing a password is very frustrating to be told, send email to help, I'll get to it eventually, because not being able to log in is going to, well, first of all, you can't send email to help, you can't log in, but something like that, if there's a domino effect, is, I need this done because it's stopping 15 other things, then there's an expectation that it can be done right away. In the days before DHCP, people would often send email to help, I need an IP address for this new machine. If you take a day to get that IP address, you've delayed installing this machine for a day. But if the request is, I need to order a new machine, there's an expectation that even if you have FedEx overnight, it's going to take 24 hours. You're not going to stand in your office waiting for this request to be done. So there's certain requests where there is an expectation that it can take a long time. So when there's the expectation, when you're matching the expectation to do delegate, to record, delegate, do, you're going to have happier users. That brings us to delegate. So if you set up your shield and someone else is supposed to be shielding you, but somehow it got through, you can delegate. You can call that other person and say, and I try to, again, be very visible to the user. Hi Bob, John's here and needs such and such. Can you do this? And and it also avoids sending a person into a black hole. If you say, oh, I'm busy right now, could you ask Bob? And they go and Bob's not in his office, that's very frustrating.
Once you delegate, do you basically, is it off your radar, or is there something that you should be buying? Because I know, you know, if you work with people who aren't prioritizing things well, you could actually pass them on, talk to the person, and know that you're handing it off, and then it black holes, and then the person came to you originally, so they're...
Right, so you get the blame.
Yeah.
Sure. When I delegate, I tend to write in my calendar a couple days later, you know, make sure such and such happened. So that's one way of dealing with it. Especially, I'm more likely to do that when I'm in a manager position than a peer position. There's also, you said something that reminded me, I'll think of it. Yes?
Tom, this is sort of all related to workflow, I think, what we're talking about. In our shop, we use basically the troubleshoot system, but we use it for a lot more than just troubleshooters.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody walks into an office and has a request like that, we make sure that the ticket started so somebody can follow up on it. And you know, you get,
Yeah.
if your user ID is attached to that ticket, you will be follow up on pretty automatically.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you can delegate by saying, well, hey, let me open a ticket for you. And often, if the person's not technical, it's sort of scary to come to a sysadmin and ask a question because they don't know the right words to use and stuff. And so if they've gotten all this courage just to come to you and ask a question, and then you say, talk to Bob, they have to get that courage up a second time, and that can be frustrating. This is like me traveling to any foreign country. I'm terrified of, you know, I couldn't understand the language when I went to Australia. You know, I asked the person at the hotel desk. I said, "Do you know what the weather is going to be like tonight?" And she said, "It'll be fine." And I was like, "What do you mean it'll be fine?" And I asked someone else. And they said, "It'll be fine." I'm like, no one will tell me what the weather is going to be. They just keep telling me it's fine. Like, it's fine. Go away. And so I found Jeff Hudson from BayLISA and SageMU fame, and I said, "You've lived in the U.S. Translate this for me. No one will tell me what the weather's going to be tonight." And he said, "Oh, are they all telling you it's going to be fine?" I said, "Yes, what does that mean?" He said, "The weather here is so good that you have fine and not fine." Fine means sunny and warm. It's fine all year round, except when it rains, and then, oh, it's raining. So, yeah, okay, so that's my little, you know, embarrassing travel story. But that's how a user feels when they come to their system administrators. They feel like a tourist traveling in a foreign land where everyone seems to speak English, but I have no idea what they're talking about, right? So, yeah, it can be very useful to open the ticket for them. And I'll often say, you know, "Oh, let me translate this into Computer Geek for you." And I, you know, Sarah or Bob can't access whatever. Or if someone catches me in the hallway and says, "Oh, you know, could you remember to do this when you get back to your office?" And I get into that, no, I will not rely on my brain. So I'll say, "Could you just send email to help with," and I'll tell them the words, you know, server 5 thing, and assign it to me, I'll know what you mean. And users would much prefer that than sitting down and having to remember, you know, oh, well, you know, we're trying to construct a paragraph describing the problem. Yes?
So what are your strategies for people who you repeatedly tell